Hello! Welcome to this video. My name is Thiago Soares and I will present to you the new Graphic Layer Manager available in the UX framework for the TRIRIGA platform 3.5.2. Before explaining how can we use the Graphic Layer Manager, let's understand how a graphic is composed. First, the graphic is designed in the AutoCAD. But when it is rendered in the application, it is rendered as a SVG composed by a series of layers. So when we see a floor plan like this in the application, we are seeing a series of layers that are stacked one on the top of the other. For example, we can have a layer that has the columns, another that has the doors, and the other that has the spaces. By default, the triplet graphic element will render all the layers defined as visible. The default visibility of a layer can be defined using the layer configuration available on the TRIRIGA Tools menu. I can, for example, define that the furniture layer should be hidden by default. To grok what I am talking about here, let's go to the TRIRIGA and I will explain how to use the layer configuration. Now I'm showing a simple demo application that shows the floor for a specific building. I can switch between the floors and it will show the floor plan for each floor. We can see that by default the furniture layer is visible. So how can we change that? How can we change the default visibility of a layer in a graphic? I will switch to the TRIRIGA. I will access the Tools menu and we have here under the Utilities, Graphics, we have the Layer Configuration option. Click on that item, we can create a new layer configuration. I click on Add, I will set a ID, I will set the description. I want to hide the furniture layer, so I select the criteria by layer name and set the value to furniture. I will set the state to off. I will create a draft and activate that layer configuration. Now let's return to our demo app and refresh. Now you can see that the furniture is not shown anymore. The layer configuration that we just created is now applied and all the furniture layer is hidden. Using the layer configuration has some limitations because it is a static configuration. The first limitation is that the user cannot select which layers he wants to be visible on the graph. The other limitation is that the developer cannot override that configuration for his specific application. To control the visibility of the graphic layers, we created a new component called Triplet Graphic Layer Manager that allows the developer to control the layers at runtime. Using the layer manager, the developer can create an application that the user can select the layers to be visible or hidden. The Triplet Graphic Layer Manager provides a list of available layers. As well, it provides some properties to disable and enable the layers before the rendering phase. The layers property retrieves a list of the layers, and each element of that list has the following structure. It has a name and has a visible attribute indicating if that layer is visible or not. Let's go to the source code of the demo application. I will demonstrate how to use the new layer manager element. I just located the triplet graphic element and inside it I will declare the layer manager. I will bind the layers property to the layers variable so I can later use it. The triplet graphic layer manager element is a non-graphical component. The developer must create an UI so that the user can control the layers on the graphic. For our demo app, I will use the paper menu button to create a menu containing the list of the layers that the user can select or deselect to toggle the visibility of the layers. I will set the ID of the paper menu button to layer manager, and I will set the ignore select property so that when the user select, the menu does not close. Now I will iterate over the layers variable, and for each element in the layers list, I will render a paper item, and inside the paper item I will declare a checkbox so the user can select or deselect it. The label of the checkbox will be the name of the layer, and the visible property of the layer I will bind to the checked property of the checkbox. I will also add a paper tooltip to the menu button so that when the user hovers the paper menu button, it will show a tooltip indicating that it is a layer manager. To finish our layer manager, let's use the CSS style to position the layer manager to the left of the graphic. The menu button will lay on the top of the graphic. Running the updated demo application, we see now the menu button on the top left corner of the graphic. If we hover the menu button, it will display a tooltip indicating that it is a layer manager. When you click the button, it will appear a menu containing all the layers for the current graphic. The user can check or uncheck a layer on the menu to control its visibility on the graphic. I have toggled the furniture layer, and now we can see all the furniture on the graphic. If we click the X-grid layer, it will turn on that layer on the graphic. If you will open again the layer manager and click the X-grid, it will turn off that layer on the graphic. We can switch to another floor and verify that the layer manager was updated and contain only the layers for the current graphic. We can test it again by checking and unchecking the layers and verifying that the layers appears and disappears on the graphic. If the developer wants to preset the layers that must be visible or that must be hidden in the graphic, he can use the turn on and turn off properties. The turn on property allows the developer to define a list of layers that can be visible when rendering the graphic. In this example, the turn on property is set to furniture. So the furniture layer will be visible when rendering the graphic. The developer can also use the turn off property to define a list of the layers that must be hidden when rendering the graphic. In this example, the graphic, when it is rendered, the furniture will be visible and the doors layer will be hidden. Now I will demonstrate how to use the turn on and turn off properties. I want to configure the layer manager to preset the furniture layer to be visible when rendering the graphic and to hide the doors layers when rendering the graphic. The first property is the turn on property, and I will set to furniture. And also I will use the turn off and set it to the doors layer. The turn on and turn off properties can receive a single string or can receive a list of layers. Let's now check the changes on the demo application. In the demo app, we can see now that the furniture is now shown by default when rendering the graphic. If I switch the floor to, it also shows the furniture and does not show the doors layer. If I open the Open Manager, the doors is unchecked and the furniture now is checked. The same will happen in the floor 1. So that's it for today. We covered the basics of using the Triplet Graphic Layer Manager element. Please check the reference link for additional material. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.